Hi there, welcome to the channel, welcome back if you're a return viewer. You're watching the Christchurch Review of Books, and I'm Kerry. Coming to you today on the first day of May for a very short April book haul, because in the month of April, for various reasons, I only actually bought one book. And today is also one of the wettest days on record in the city of Christchurch. Apparently the fourth highest rainfall happened over the last 24 hours. Flooding, roads closed, trees down, all that type of thing. A bit of a terrible storm was raging out there, and it was too much for me this morning when I went to get up to go to work. I looked out the door of the window, and the rain was horizontal and the wind was crazy, so I ended up working from home, which I have the capability to do, like many others these days. It's not either my first choice, but it seemed like the sensible alternative today. Otherwise, I'd be trying to catch buses out in the horizontal rain and so on. So it's been a weird kind of feeling day, and I just wanted to get the April book haul done because I missed the end of the month April yesterday, and there wasn't a lot going on in the way of books, as I mentioned before, mainly because I was trying to save some money to kind of build up a bit of a reserve for some larger bills, coupled for some online services that came due around the same time in late April. So anyway, I have rectified the situation. I've just bought a whole stack of books online last night. The bank account will take a hit, but I feel better doing it now. It's just these books sit on your wish list, nagging to you, sending messages at you, buy me, buy me, buy me, and once in a while you just want to clear the decks and do that. So I've done that, and the book I did buy in April, very early in April actually, was this one, The Bookshop Detectives, Tea and Cake and Death. Now this is the sequel to The Bookshop Detectives, Dead Girl Gone, which came out last year, and was a bit of a revelation. It was not deep and meaningful, it was not serious, it was not full of horrible death and destruction. It was kind of like the fusing of the cozy crime type of genre, which has been popular for the last 5 or 6 years now, and the cozy bookshop genre, which kind of sprouted off in things like Sean Bithel's bookshop memoirs, and kind of then veered into fiction, and we have a lot of books from Japan and so on about cozy bookshops, cozy tea rooms, all that type of thing. And this kind of book fused that type of thing. So it's basically written by a husband and wife booksellers, and they run a shop called Wardini Books in the North Island town of Havelock North here in New Zealand. And their characters are husband and wife booksellers who run a bookshop called Sherlock Tomes in Havelock North in the North Island of New Zealand. And obviously, there's no doubt about it, the main characters are very thinly disguised versions of the real authors. The names are even soon. The woman in the real world is called Louise, and in the book she's Eloise. And I think there's a similar name between Garth and Gareth of the gentleman involved. And their backgrounds are even the same. They were former UK police officers who moved to New Zealand. And in the book, there's like some of the criminal element from back in the UK seem to be reaching out to them again in New Zealand in their new life, and that kind of there's a kind of running thing that's in the background of the major cases that they solve, well, so far. And of course, is there a connection between their history and the thing that presents them? Now this one takes place in the background of a battle of book clubs or something. Anyway, I was impressed by this. It was a lot of fun, and it had a very New Zealand flavour. Maybe I'm late to New Zealand fiction, but I know I just like seeing it reflected. For so long, New Zealand fiction had to be serious literature, and now we're getting into popular genres now. Well, maybe there always were some like that, but it seems to be very much more common now, or maybe we're accepting our own writers more. And anyway, this one looks like a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the last one. Oh, of course, I missed out the dog, Stevie, who plays a big role in the story, and of course he's based on the real life Stevie. Anyway, so that is The Bookshop Detectives, Tea, Cake and Death by Gareth Ward and Louise Ward. Bound to be a lot of fun. I'll devour this when I need a bit of a lift or a bit of light entertainment. Okay, so what am I reading at the moment? I am reading this book, Unreal, which is a kind of memoir by Diana Whitchell. I guess Diana Whitchell was a TV critic for the Listener magazine for several decades. The Listener was like, I guess, the Radio Times is to the UK and the TV Guide is to the US. It was kind of like the original TV and radio listings magazine. Originally it was state-owned and funded in New Zealand, but it went private much later on. And for a large chunk of the 20th century, almost into the 21st century, just about everybody in New Zealand bought a copy of The Listener, if not for nothing else, the TV listings, which no one else was allowed to carry for a very long time. And the odd thing is, along with this maybe lowbrow TV listings, The Listener had quite a high intellectual level of its articles. There's all politics and social issues and reviews and that type of thing, and alongside the night's TV viewings for a week. So that was The Listener. Anyway, Diana Whitchell was their TV critic, made quite a name for herself. A few years back, I think about 2022 maybe, she wrote a book called Walking to Treblinka, kind of the story of her father and his adventures escaping the Nazis during the Second World War. And this book kind of continues it on, and the next generation, her own life as a small child, her family immigrated to Canada, and how she grew up basically feasting upon TV delights and ended up moving to New Zealand where it became her job. And I'm only a short way through it, and it's very enjoyable so far. It's not deep and meaningful so far, but she makes some meaningful points, and it's just seeing her life through the lens of television, perhaps. And that is Unreal. It came out last November here in New Zealand, and I got a copy a couple of months ago. I've just got around to cracking the cover on it. Okay, so I think that's it. Hoping the weather clears up tonight, but I have the option from working from home again, so who knows what will happen. We'll find out tomorrow morning. Okay, next up I've got a couple of reviews in the pipeline. A Conventional Boy, one of Charles Stross's latest Laundry Files series books, another short one, and for some reason the short ones seem to be the better ones lately. And another one, a classic science fiction story from 1956, The Stars My Destination, which science fiction story from the 50s, which kind of teeters between very 50ish and very, very ahead of its time, with elements of things like 80s cyberpunk and that type of thing in a 1950s milieu. So that is The Stars My Destination, my review coming in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. Alright, we'll leave it there. Have a good evening, and we'll see you next time.